Marni. It's really nice to be here. I just want to say, to start off, I think it's awesome that you guys all came here, because when I was first diagnosed, there was no way in hell I was going to like a panel situation to like hear about like what's going to happen. I was scared out of my mind, so I really think it's great that you guys are all here. I also just want to say, I didn't hear all of the expert panel. I did hear some of it. And it scared the shit out of me, and I've had MS for 10 years. So I just want you guys to know that you can't take like everything so seriously that they said, because everyone has MS differently. No two people have MS the same way, which is why it's such a frustrating disease. And I think that's why it's so hard to find a cure, because everybody has it differently. It's also hard for me sometimes to talk to people because I feel bad, because right now I'm doing great. Some days I'm not doing great, and it's hard for me because everybody does have it differently, and everybody is suffering differently. But I'm just here to share my experience with you guys. Hope I can give you kind of some encouragement that it's all going to be okay. So 10 years ago, I was 23, and I worked in television, and I was up all night in an edit, staring at a screen. And I had like 4 hours of sleep. I woke up, and I noticed when I was putting on my makeup, like I couldn't really see out of my right eye. I thought it was because I was tired. I hadn't slept all night. So it lasted like 1 or 2 days. I started telling everybody at work, like, I can't really see. My mom's like, you probably need glasses. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna need glasses. I'm so excited to find a new pair of glasses. I never wore glasses. I went to the glasses store in Long Island, where my mom is from. Start picking out Pradas. I'm very excited. Go in the back, do the little eye exam. And it turns out the guy that was doing the test, I didn't know this at the time, he has MS. And when he realized none of the lenses were fixing the problem, he like knew. He was like, it was a Saturday, he's like, you need to go to an ophthalmologist like immediately. And we were like, okay. Saw an ophthalmologist. Before you know it, I was in the hospital, and I am just so confused because I'm not bleeding. I don't have a fever. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm just a little blurry. They did the MRI, I'm in the hospital, they put me on steroids, and then a few weeks later I had a spinal tap and they confirmed MS. Now nobody in my family had MS, I barely knew anything about MS, and I was in major denial. I was 23, I was like, no one is telling me that I can't go out at night, that I can't drink, I can't eat certain things. Like, I was just not even like, it's so funny when I think back about it. I didn't care. I just didn't care. My mom and my dad were a mess. Like, seeing them be so upset, and like my dad's blaming himself because he has an autoimmune disease. They think it's their fault, and that hurt me more. Like, seeing their reaction, and I just, I stayed in a state of denial, and I went to the doctor. And I do say it's very, very important when you go to the doctor to not go alone. Because in the beginning, you're not listening, you're not paying attention. My mom was the one asking all the questions. Because I was just like, la-di-da-di-da, like, I'm gonna be okay. You need to have somebody with you at all times. It's been 10 years, and my mother still goes with me to doctor appointments. My husband's here today. Like, I do not do anything alone if it's related to MS. You need a second set of ears. You need somebody else to think of the questions if you're not gonna be thinking about it, especially in that first year when you're diagnosed. It's hard. After a few months, I kind of was like, okay, clearly I'm an outgoing person, I'm pretty social, and I was like, maybe this happened to me for a reason. Like, I never had a charity to kind of fight for, I never raised money for anything, so I just like kind of, contacted the MS Society pretty quickly and decided to just start doing the MS walk. And my first year I had a team of 60 people, we raised a ton of money, and even though I was in this state of denial, I kind of had this like new outlook. Oh, like, okay, maybe I'll just be this like fundraiser and just try to raise money and do that. And at that time also, it's funny, one of the ladies was asking a question about medications. When I first saw my neurologist, I was like, I do not want to give myself injections. So the least amount of injections, that's what I want. I'm 23, I'm not doing this. And he was like, okay, so Avonex is once a week. At the time, they were pushing new drugs on me. I remember they were pushing Tysigrate. And at that time, thank God, knock on wood, my mother was like, she's too young to go on a new drug. It hasn't been on the market long enough. Well, you know what? She was right, because they took it off the market a few years later because somebody passed away. So for me, a new drug wasn't an option because I was too young. For some people, it might be an option. I was on Avonex for a year, and every single week I got the flu-like symptoms. But I was struggling so much with the injection that I didn't want to change the medication. And I was telling this lady in the bathroom that I do think you have to kind of figure out what works for you and what you want to do. I mean, I still, the stabbing, the red marks, yeah, it sucks. So you know what I did? The flu-like symptoms were way worse. So I changed to Rebif. I was on Rebif for a bunch of years. Every time I had to give myself that shot, sometimes I would have a glass of wine. Like, I mean, it was awful. It is awful. It's taken me 10 years to find a medication that I don't mind doing it. It doesn't hurt as much. I'm not pushing drugs. No pharmaceutical company is paying me, but I am trying to get pregnant, so I had to change my medication to something that was safe. So I'm on Copaxone. I've been on Copaxone for I think like a year. And this has been the first year I have not had a symptom. 10 years, I finally figured out a medication that might work, like for me, you know? In 10 years. So I don't know, it is maybe trial and error. For some people, it might be. Since that point, now I've kind of, I've accepted it, and I actually moved to California, and also I don't know who's, if you're single here and you're diagnosed, that was like my biggest nightmare then too. I was like, I'm single, no one's gonna love me, how am I gonna find a man? And, hi, I'm Marni, I have MS, But it was like diarrhea of the mouth, like that was the first thing I was saying on dates. Don't do that. Do not do that. You are not like, you're not identified as MS. You're you. You be you. MS, I always say, is my something. MS. Everyone has something. On social media, it looks like everyone's got a great fucking life. And you know what? I'm sure every single person behind the door has a medical issue, has a marriage issue. Like, there's something wrong with everybody, right? So this is my something. So I go to California. I met my husband there. And I remember this when I met him, and I was very attracted to him. I said, I'm not going to bring up the MS. I'm not going to bring up the MS. After like a month or two of dating, we're like sitting, we're playing cards, and I'll never forget this, Mike. So I just want to tell you something, I have MS. And he's like, okay. So, where in the past, the guys were like running, So then I knew, all right, I think I found the right man. And when I was in California, I had another medical issue. That's another really annoying thing. It's like, anytime you have something else that's going on, I look up, I'm like, I have MS. Like, isn't that enough? What the hell? Now I have a herniated disc that is causing such severe sciatica, I can't walk. So now, the year I'm in California, I can't do the MS walk because I have this severe pain shooting down my leg that has nothing to do with MS. At first I thought it was MS because you wake up in the morning every day and you're like, am I tired because I stayed up all night watching my DVR, or am I tired because I have MS? And it is a very difficult thing to differentiate what is going on. Is it MS? Is it not MS? So I thought my back thing was an MS thing, but it wasn't. I had 3 surgeries since that time. It was like 5 years ago, and it has been a pain in my ass, literally, because I have pain in my ass. But it's been a real struggle, and because of that, though, I do believe everything happens for a reason. I couldn't do the walk, and I felt awful. And my husband was in a band, and we were like, we should do something. We know all these musicians, all these bands. Why don't we do an event for MS? So we came up with M Squared, Music Against MS, and that was 4 years ago. And I've been doing an event every year since. I moved back to New York because I realized I needed my mother, I needed my family by me because of my medical issues. She was flying back and forth. And I was just like, I can't do this. And luckily, my amazing husband, after a year when we parted, he came to New York. So, I love you. And we do M Squared now. And the next event is in October. If anybody wants to be involved, let me know. So, it is a journey. It is a struggle. But at the same time, it's going to be okay. Keep people by your side. Ask your doctor questions. I've seen many, go to a second opinion. When I was first diagnosed, I saw a second opinion. They both said the same thing. I was like, all right, I'm going to go with the easier location. Whatever was closer for home to me. That's what I went with. And recently, this past year, which was a nightmare with health insurance, that's a whole other story. But my doctor, my neurologist, 10 years was not taking my new health insurance that I was on, and I was devastated. I was like, 10 years, I'm gonna have to find a new neurologist, and I did, and turns out it's a woman, and I really like her, and it's like a fresh take on things, you know? So I'm like, okay, maybe this is meant to be. Maybe this happened for a reason that my health insurance sucked. So, yeah, I just, you know, I also think it's really important to get involved and to, you know, a lot of people you might not want to tell anybody at work, or you might not want to tell your friends. I was in this like midst of being in the hospital, so everybody at work kind of was like, what's going on? So I was very open about it, and I am very open about it because I want to educate people, and I want to like let people know, like, you could look like this, and everyone's like, what do you mean? You know, the whole like, oh, you don't look like you have MS. They can't see it, you know? So they don't know. Like, my hands are tingling right now because now I'm sweating. So it's like always hot, always hot. So yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I just, you know, try to stay positive. It's going to be okay. And now, the best is when people say to you, now's a great time to get diagnosed. There's so many new drugs, you know? It's like, that was like the number one thing I used to hear from people. And be wary of like what you read on the internet, and like, everyone is going to tell you something different. There's so many opinions. Everyone's got something to say. You know, it's like, take it for what it is. Speak to people that have MS. I have literally met a group of girls in their 30s and their 20s who have MS. We formed a Facebook group. We're on the group. We're like, you know, complaining to each other about symptoms, about medications, about diets, and we're there for each other. And I really do believe it's like a support group. I mean, it's really helpful to talk to other people that are like you, that have the disease. So yeah, thanks for being here, and thanks for listening.